I think Paul is a very good individual to receive the reward. He's been a real credit to the engineering profession.
He was always eager to lend a hand and help people solve problems.
Very down-to-earth, common sense engineer.
Cared a lot about his employees, and
Hard work and ethics were the big things I've learned from him.
He was well respected in the consulting industry. Paul became an engineer in the early 60s. I think he worked with a contractor to begin with, and then moved on to work with Ben Torchinsky at BBT. And I think he shaped a lot of the work that consulting engineers were doing at that time.
He was very good with analogies to explain very technical situations.
The geotechnical field in my mind is half art and half science. By art I mean you gotta have a lot of experience to appreciate why something works and doesn't work.
And he wasn't afraid to apply the new technology to projects, and I think a lot of the people in the industry appreciated that. He would take on any type of project. He didn't turn many things away, and he would work on them until they were complete, whatever the cost was.
His motto was always to charge a fair price for the services we're generating. Be fair to us and fair to the client. So.
he was always willing to help out the little guy. If say there was a homeowner who was having problems with say water infiltration or their basement floor is cracking, he would always take the time to take on that sort of project, that the bigger companies would just say, no, we don't have time for this sort of thing.
Came from a small town, so I think that's where he learned the hard working, how to work hard, because if he didn't work hard, he wouldn't have accomplished what he did.
That background presented Paul with a work ethic that a lot of people don't have today, and the ability to look after yourself and not expect the world to look after you.
And he also had a day-to-day interest in people's life outside of work. Always took time out of his busy day to chat with people on an individual basis.
He was a good mentor for the team and a good role model.
Paul, I think, inherited, shall we call it, the teaching ability of Ben Torchinsky to pass on knowledge.
Paul was definitely my mentor starting out, so his door was always open. So no matter what kind of question or problem you had, you could always go in and approach him and ask him.
Paul encouraged young people to try different things. He didn't pigeonhole you in one particular area, for example. So you could find yourself behind a drill rig one day or looking at piles being installed on another, and working in the lab testing soils.
He's been a great mentor and to a lot of young engineers just starting their career. So I think that alone, he's helped train probably most of the engineers in the geotechnical field in the province, or at least had some sort of relationship with them.
He had many significant projects that were quite big. He's well known for Blackstrap. He's well known in the grain industry, where we've done numerous terminals, and he was a forefront on.
Well, we did work on river landing in Saskatoon here, and it was several phases, and I think it's an outstanding project. It's highly visible.
He liked to tinker, like you say. He of all the companies that are around, he's one of the few that had his own equipment. So I think he was probably most proud of that.
He also recently was awarded the Saskatchewan Geotechnical Pioneer Award through the Canadian Geotechnical Society.
And I would think the firm Machibroda Engineering is probably the #1 recognized geotech firm in Saskatchewan today. Mainly because of Paul's just common sense of doing things, and didn't get overly excited about so many things.
He could meet people and feel comfortable with them, and often leave the room knowing that they were almost seeming like they'd known each other for years.
Paul's well respected in the industry. I was thinking of people that I've run into since he's passed, and they remember him as very down to earth, good sense of humor, and generous, and I always think of him as a fair man.
You know, he cared for people and he wanted to, you know, help out. He was just a generally nice guy.
On a day-to-day basis, I miss him as a person to discuss things within engineering business, and sometimes even on a personal basis.
I felt really honored to have known the man.